G'day guys, Max here from Evidence-Based Football Manager. Today we're going to talk about the box-to-box midfielder. Box-to-box is a midfielder role and it means exactly how it's read. A box-to-box midfielder is supposed to run between the two penalty boxes constantly throughout a match, contributing to both offence and defence. Some of the greatest footballers in history have been box-to-box midfielders, including Brian Robson, Lothar Matthäus and Steven Gerrard, just to name a few. So, how is the role of box-to-box midfielder reflected in Football Manager? Let's find out. In order to test the behaviours of the box-to-box midfielders in the game, I set up a neutral match environment using the database editor. Refer to my video, this is how Football Manager tactics should be tested, for details on how I have created a controlled environment that I use to conduct my various Football Manager experiments. So I'm experimenting with two different formations, 4-3-3 and 4-4-2, in which the left central midfielder will play the box-to-box role. I made these players to be ambidextrous so that their behaviours will not be prejudiced by whether they are left or right-footed. And I made the opposition team rotate between 5 different football formations that represent a variety of football formations and styles. Every time I change an experimental condition, I repeat the same trials 5 times in order to gather a sample pool. So I've compiled the results into an Excel spreadsheet. Let's have a look at it together. I've recorded these stats for the player who is playing the box-to-box role, and these are the stats that I think is important for a box-to-box midfielder, such as the number of shots per match, number of passes, pass accuracy, key passes, number of dribbles, running distance covered during the match, and the number of tackles. So this table here is when I was using the 4-3-3 formation. It's a total of 20 trials, and I've calculated the average values of the statistics here in this bottom row. So over 20 trials, the box-to-box midfielder has recorded on average 0.85 shots per match, around 38 passes, 89% pass accuracy, 1.15 key shots, 0.2 successful dribbles, 13.255 kilometers running distance, and about 3 tackles per match. Now let's compare this with this table here. So here it's using the 4-4-2 formation. So after 20 trials, it is around 0.35 shots per match, 42 passes, 87% pass accuracy, 0.95 key passes, 0.15 dribbles, 13.52 kilometers running distance, and 2.7 tackles per match. So if you compare the results from the two tables, the box-to-box midfielders attempt more shots per match in the 4-3-3 formation, while the number of passes are higher in the 4-4-2 formation. This could mean that box-to-box midfielders become slightly more offensively involved when in the 4-3-3 formation, while becoming a little bit more supportive-minded in the 4-4-2 formation. Pass accuracy is slightly higher in the 4-3-3 formation, but I think the difference is negligible. The other stats are also more or less the same between the 4-3-3 and the 4-4-2 formations. Next, we have the heat maps recorded by the box-to-box midfielders during the trials that I've done. I have 2 images here. So the image on the left is using the 4-3-3 formation, and I've superimposed the heat maps from 8 separate matches into a single image using Photoshop. The image on the right is using the 4-4-2 formation, and it is also 8 separate heat maps combined into one image. So from these images, it is clear that box-to-box midfielders cover a lot of ground, leaving his footprints almost everywhere on the pitch. You can also see that the heat maps are skewed slightly towards the left-hand side. I think this is just because the box-to-box midfielders in these trials were placed on the left side of the midfield. Now, these are the visualized representations of how the players pass to each other during my trials. You can find these visualized maps in the post-match report. So you go into the analytical data here, and if you go in here and here, you can find the pass combinations of your team. So if you look at these images, it is pretty clear that box-to-box midfielders act as a key link in your midfield, and a lot of passes made by your team will go through the box-to-box midfielder. So, based on the statistics, the heat maps, and the passing maps that we saw, I say that for a box-to-box midfielder, player attributes related to shooting are not that important, as these guys will seldom make more than 1 or 2 shots per match. I think attributes related to passing are more important, since box-to-box midfielders will make around 40 passes per match, and especially given the fact that they act as the centre of passing for your team. Also, given the fact that box-to-box midfielders cover a large ground area running around the pitch non-stop throughout a match, attributes such as work rate and stamina are also important. It is no wonder that N'Golo Kante of Chelsea, with 20 work rate and 19 stamina, is considered one of the best box-to-box midfielders of his generation. Next, I'll show you some gameplay footages recorded during my trials, just so we can see how box-to-box midfielders actually behave in the game. In this example here, the red team is using the 4-4-2 formation and the left midfielder is playing the box-to-box role. You can see that when the opposition is in possession of the ball, the box-to-box midfielder tracks all the way back to the team's penalty box, but when the red team regains possession of the ball, he runs all the way up to the opposition penalty box. He is literally running from box to box. Now in this example, the red team is using the 4-3-3 formation. The red team is on the attack, and the box-to-box midfielder is staying back a little bit rather than entering the opposition box himself. He is the link between the right and the left sides of the pitch, receiving the ball from his teammate on the right side and passing it off to the teammate on the left side. He continues to exchange passes with the left wingback and delivers a cross into the box which leads to a goal. Next, I'll show you how box-to-box midfielders placed on the left side will contribute slightly more in the left half of the pitch. So here in the red team, this guy here is the box-to-box midfielder, and you can see that he has drifted towards the left flank in order to help out with his teammates. I've shown you before in the heat maps that box-to-box midfielders placed on the left side of the midfield do tend to skew slightly towards the left half of the pitch, which you can observe in this footage here. Now, one thing to note is that when I say box-to-box midfielders like to run from one box to the other, it doesn't mean that they like to carry the ball themselves. It just means that they will run between the two boxes when the team is in possession of the ball. As we saw from the statistics before, box-to-box midfielders don't really like to dribble the ball all that much. He merely acts as a central player in the middle of the pitch who is prepared to receive passes and deliver it off to his teammates. Okay, that's it for today, guys. What do you think about the box-to-box midfielder? Do you agree with the observations I made today in this video? Let me know in the comments. As always, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to make more videos like these. So have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.